Elon Musk reopened his war of words with Keir Starmer by branding the UK a police state. The tech tycoon, who runs social media site X, responded to news that the UK was reactivating emergency plans to ease pressure on the prison system. Operation Early Dawn, a long-standing plan which allows defendants to be held in police cells and not summoned to magistrates' court until a space in prison is available, was activated on Monday morning, the Ministry of Justice said. The measure will be put in place in the North East and Yorkshire, Cumbria and Lancashire, and Manchester, Merseyside and Cheshire regions. An influx of inmates, sparked by the government's plan to clamp down on the riots and disorder, has heaped more pressure on the prison service. But Mr. Musk said, the UK is turning into a police state. He has also branded Operation Early Dawn as Operation Orwell. The richest man in the world said Sir Keir Starmer was a hypocrite over his approach to policing and goaded the Prime Minister over a Labour MP's historical tweets. The billionaire tycoon, who has proclaimed free speech as a key goal of his takeover of Twitter, which he renamed X, expressed his disbelief that people who incite violence online are being prosecuted in the UK. Downing Street said the emergency prison plans could be triggered and deactivated several times over the next few weeks, as needed. A spokeswoman said she expected the regions affected will move in and out of the contingency plan amid short periods of significant pressure. Asked if the emergency measures posed a risk to public safety during a visit to Belfast, Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer said the government was making really tough decisions, and nobody wants to take them. As he repeated criticisms that Labour had inherited problems with prisons due to a basic failure by the previous Conservative administration to have enough prison places available. We've had to deal with it with the additional strain of the disorder of recent weeks, he said, adding, but we've been able to prove that if you commit disorder, you can expect to be put through the criminal justice system quickly, and we will continue in that vein. But I'm not going to pretend that this isn't a challenge. We will take the necessary tough decisions on this, but we should never, ever have been put in the position that we're in today. Mark Fairhurst, national chairman of the Prison Officers Association, told BBC Breakfast the policy would lead to justice delayed. He said the most serious offenders would still end up in court and be guaranteed a prison cell, but less serious offenders would either spend longer in police cells or be bailed. It's justice delayed at the moment, because we're not clogging up police cells, so they might have to delay some of their operations, he said. When they arrest people, they've got to make sure they've got them a custody space in police custody, because we might have prisoners filling up their cells. Of course, they have got to pay overtime to supervise prisoners, but Mr. Fairhurst clarified that this would not mean that some people who would normally go to jail would avoid it. Tom Franklin, chief executive of the Magistrates Association, said the measures would lead to delays in defendants appearing in court. What this means is there will be a delay in some people who have been charged coming to court because the prison service can't guarantee if they were remanded in custody, there would be a place for them, he told BBC Radio 4's Today programme. We understand it is not in all regions, it is some regions, and we understand that it will be reviewed during the working day. We are assured that it is a temporary measure, Nick Emerson, president of the Law Society of England and Wales, which represents solicitors, said the emergency measures being used in prisons illustrates the consequences of the long-term neglect of the criminal justice system and that reactivating Operation Early Dawn would affect victims, defendants and lawyers. In the longer term, sustained investment is needed across the criminal justice system in order to avoid it collapsing completely, he added. After the riots that broke out across parts of England after the stabbing of 3 girls in Southport, 460 people had appeared in magistrates' courts in relation to the disorder by the end of Thursday.